Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you the Hexbug Hexmod. Well, before we get too much further, I just wanted to say thank you very much for stopping in and taking a look at another one of my videos. And I really do hope that this benefits you in some way. If it does, please consider giving me a thumbs up and a subscription. That would really help me out. And what you see in front of you is the Hexbug Hexmods. These are very similar to the Xmods of many years ago and are the same size as the current Mini-Z. There's a lot to love about this model at about $90, but there's also a few things that aren't so great. Now, on the table here is the plethora of optional parts that come with this kit. They include things like bumpers, optional hoods and roofs, optional front toe links, optional wings, underglow kits, LED kits, wheels and tires, side skirts, gears, springs, optional motor, a four-wheel drive conversion kit, track pieces. The list really does go on and on. The controller that is featured in this model is very, very basic. This runs on 3 AAA batteries. On the side here is a steering limiter, so you can limit the amount of steering that you have like a dual rate. There's also a power button, a steering trim, and a throttle limiter. The body itself is pretty well done. It's not a licensed body, but they definitely take some cues from other places. Now, I have changed some of these parts prior to this video just to kind of get a feel for this model, so this is not its stock configuration. Underneath is the power button located here in the center, and I have pre-installed some of the underglow kits just so you can see those. The power button is located in the center, so if we power the controller on first, power on the vehicle, you can see those underglow lights come on. I've also pre-installed the LED kits, and they come front and rear. Looking at the controls in the model, the proportionality in here is not digital. So as we begin to turn the steering wheel, you'll notice that there are steps in the way that it's turning. So it's not going to be that smooth steering that you're used to seeing in a hobby grade. When you're applying the throttle, the vehicle is very loud, and reverse is pretty finicky. So nothing is happening here. Now, I have noticed that if you push the trigger closer to the camera here, you're kind of pushing up on it, and slowly work it, you hear the buzzing. That will tell you that it is in reverse. Again, giving it throttle, and then going to reverse, you have to push the trigger up and slowly work it back and forth. Once you hear the buzzing, reverse will work. I'm doing this in real time so you can see how finicky this actually is. Hear the buzzing? Now you have reverse. In addition to the problems with the throttle, there are also some clearance issues with the steering. So if we give this a full steer, you'll notice that that is kind of bound up. See, it turns okay, and then it will bind up. Turn this way and it does the same, so it kind of binds up. So that's a problem that you have when driving this, that it will bind up randomly in your steering. The other problem that it has is that when you're throttling the model, it tends to veer left or right despite having trimmed it, and it never seems to predictably move in the same direction. Removing the body is pretty simple and straightforward. If you grab a hold of the tires here and push the body away from the chassis, you'll hear a click, and then the body will release. See those 2 little round clips there? That is what causes the body to hold in place. Push the body down and the vehicle out, and it will release out of its holder. With the light kits installed, you can see they plug into the chassis located here. Now that the body is free, you can get a look at the chassis itself. The suspension is kind of sticky, so when you push the suspension up, you see it sticks. This side over here was better when I started, but the more that I play with it, the more that it sticks. This is actually a new issue that I've just discovered, and that pops out fairly easily. So that is again a change that has happened here just within the last couple of moments of messing with it. Getting a look at the gearing in the back of the model, it is exposed to the elements, and it is so noisy because that gear is so loud. I don't know if changing the gears will help reduce some of that load, and I've not yet tried any of that, or the optional motor in this model, as it is almost impossible to drive with its steering issues. Now there are other issues with the body as well. The body is bolted together. Now they give you this little bitty screwdriver here, which is almost useless to take these screws loose, and you end up stripping the screws in the process. So this screw right here, for example, you can see it may not be all the way threaded down. I cannot get that to thread any further because I have stripped that screw. Even using a much higher quality screwdriver to help save the screws, there are several screws in other locations in here that are beginning to strip. There are also several screws where the plastic itself is stripping. So these screws that are located in the little side skirts here, those screws are stripping in their hole and they will not tighten anymore. So now they just spin. The light kit was very difficult to install, as you do have to remove the headlight lenses in here, and those do not come out very easily. To get to those screws, you have to remove the bumper, and then the screws that are holding those lenses down are located underneath. The rear wing was easier to remove with 2 screws. Then you can install those lights in the wing before installing them into the model. You'll notice just to the inside of the LED kit, there is a little keeper that holds the LED in place. So these components do have to be removed if you want the LED kit to stay consistently installed. The tires in the model do appear to be fairly nice. They're pretty soft and they are kind of a slip fit over the wheel. The optional wheels and tires are located up here, give you some drift options as well as softer and firmer tires. Should you wish to install the front differential, they do give you extra drive shafts as well as a completely assembled differential, so there'll be no need to do any assembly there. The motor appears to be a fairly easy install if you wanted to change it, with these little springs as their contact points, so no soldering will be required. You will have to remove the pinion gear off of the original motor, which is a press fit, and I have not attempted any of that as of yet. The track pieces that they give you are a very rubbery and flexible material, and they do have these little teeth here that hold them together. So these will click together like so. These are flexible so that you can lay them out in curves should you wish. There are many different options of wheels for this model should you wish to install these, but keep in mind the wheel nut is a star shape, not a hex shape, and you'll be required to use this tool. The underglow kits were easier to install as they're more of a plug-and-play setup. They do have 2 screws that attach them to the chassis. You will find if you want to install this properly, you'll have to tighten one screw a little, and tighten the other screw a little, and tighten the first screw a little, and tighten the set screw a little, until you finally get these installed correctly. There are 3 different sticker sheets included in this model, and if you look closely at some of the sticker sheets, they are already coming undone, so I do not know what the quality of these will be and how long they will last on your model. To reinstall the body is fairly simple, so you will just line up the 2 little notches here, slide these together in place, roll the body forward, push in until you feel a click, and the body is properly installed. Overall, I would say I do not recommend this model, and that's very unfortunate. I was really excited to give this a try, but if you wanted something in this size, I would recommend something more like the Kyosho Mini Z. Unfortunately, the Mini Z comes in at twice the price, but it is more than 10 times the quality. And when you're talking about this level of frustration, that quality is worth paying for. Well guys, as we wrap up this video, I hope this has benefited you in some way. And if it has, do please consider giving me a thumbs up and a subscription, as well as don't forget to hit that bell. I do mention this in all of my videos. If you're not hitting that bell, you're not getting notified when the new content goes up. So go back and do that for all of your subscriptions. Well, that'll wrap up this one, and I hope to see you in the next one.